All right. Hey, everyone. Welcome back. Today, we are going
Back.
back. Yes, we are back. And we are
The
deep. Exactly. We're doing a deep dive into, well,
toxic relationship.
toxic relationships. It's something we all
Yeah.
probably have encountered in one way or another. So we're going to be using this YouTube podcast episode script to kind of
Yeah, at our deep dive.
guide our deep dive. Exactly.
Yeah.
So hopefully, you'll come away knowing how to spot those red flags.
Oh, yeah. Learn those boundaries.
Boundaries, crucial.
They're crucial.
And, ultimately, heal and move forward.
Heal and thrive.
Thrive.
Maybe thrive. Yeah.
Exactly, yeah. So one of the things that I thought was interesting, and this is like right off the bat from the script, was just this idea that, we always think toxic relationships and we think romance.
Right. Like the ex,
Yeah.
the bad boyfriend or the bad girlfriend or
Yeah,
whatever.
just that.
But so much bigger than that.
It is.
Yeah.
It could be friendships.
Family. I think a lot of people have experience with toxic family members.
Correct.
I mean, even think about it like work.
Oh, work, yeah.
Yeah. So like you've got a boss who's always
Undermining
you.
Yeah, like you can't say anything.
Making you feel small.
in those meetings.
Like you're not good enough.
Yeah.
Exactly. And, that is
I mean, that's,
gaslighting.
Yeah.
Straight up.
yeah, it's wild.
And it can be as damaging
Oh, yeah.
as any romantic thing.
Absolutely.
Like your career, your livelihood.
Yeah. So, okay. So we're talking about these red flags, right?
Yeah.
And the source mentions a few specifically. Controlling behavior, obviously. Gaslighting. We just touched on that. Emotional manipulation. Lack of respect. I feel like these are things, especially when they're starting, they're not,
Not so obvious. Right.
not so obvious. Like,
Yeah.
how do we get better at recognizing that?
Yeah. It's tough. It's tricky. It's almost like
Insidious, right?
insidious. Yeah. Like a slow burn.
Yeah. Yeah. Like,
Like a poison. But it's dripping.
yeah.
And you don't even notice at first.
Yeah. You didn't even realize it's happening.
Okay, so emotional manipulation,
Yeah. Give us an example.
it can sound like concern, right? They'll say something like, oh, honey, I'm just worried about you. But really what they're doing is they're trying to
Control you.
control you. Exactly. Like what you do.
Yeah. And they kind of, try to wrap it up in this like loving language.
Exactly.
Exactly. But it's so manipulative.
It is.
Okay, what about this kind of like backhanded compliments?
Oh, yeah. The ones that are like disguised as jokes. Like, oh, you'd be so much more attractive if you lost a few
That
pounds.
sounds
Right. Or like, I don't know, like, you're so smart for someone who didn't go to college.
oh my gosh.
Like, what? And it's supposed to be funny.
You're supposed to just laugh it off.
Yeah, but it just chips away.
It chips away at you.
It really does.
Yeah. Like you start to believe it.
It makes, yeah.
Question yourself.
Yeah. And I think that's the really damaging part, is that it makes you question, like, your own reality, your own worth.
Totally. You start feeling, depleted,
Yeah.
unsure.
Yeah.
Like, who am I?
Yeah. So then, okay, so we've identified these red flags, right?
Yeah.
We're seeing them. How do we then start setting those boundaries? It
They
feels
feel daunting.
daunting,
Yeah.
especially if you've spent, months, years, whatever, prioritizing their needs above your own.
Yeah. You're kind of conditioned to do that.
Yeah. So how do we break out of that?
Well, I think it's important to remember that boundaries, they're not selfish. They're essential.
Essential.
They're like building a fence
yeah.
around your emotional well-being,
Protecting yourself.
Exactly. Protecting yourself. And the source kind of breaks it down. It gives you a good framework,
Okay.
clarity,
Okay.
communication,
Mm-hmm.
and consistency. Those are the three big ones.
Consistency. Yeah. So first, clarity. You've got to be clear with yourself. What will you accept and what will you absolutely not accept?
Right. Like, what are your non-negotiables?
Exactly. And then you got to communicate those boundaries to the other person. And this is about being assertive, not aggressive, but assertive, calm, clear, direct. Hey, when you do this, it makes me feel this way and I'm not okay with it.
Right. Right. And then the third one, consistency. That seems like the toughest one.
It is, because it's so easy to slip back into old patterns.
Mm-hmm.
You set the boundary, they cross it, and then you give in. But every time you give in, you're basically reinforcing the idea that your boundary is flexible. It's like a muscle. You have to keep exercising it.
Yeah. And it's almost like you're retraining yourself to respond differently.
Exactly. It's like reprogramming your responses. You're so used to, bending over backwards, accommodating, putting their needs first. And now you're saying, no, my needs matter too.
And that can be really uncomfortable.
It can be. There's this fear, fear of conflict, fear of rejection. But enforcing those boundaries is such a powerful act of self-respect.
Yeah. I love that.
Yeah.
Okay, so the source also talks about, the healing journey, right? Which I think is such a good way to put it. Because
It's not overnight.
it's not a light switch. Yeah.
It's not.
It's a process. So what are some of the things that we can do to kind of, I guess, facilitate that healing process?
Well, first of all, it's about acknowledging the impact, right?
Right.
Not minimizing what you went through. It hurt. It was real. And those wounds,
They're valid.
they're valid and they need time to heal.
Yeah. And I feel like there's also this tendency, or at least I know, for me personally, there's this tendency to kind of blame yourself.
Oh, yeah.
Like, what did I do wrong? What could I have done differently?
Yeah, the what ifs, the should haves. But that's not helpful,
Yeah.
It keeps you stuck.
Yeah.
So instead of blaming yourself, what if you practice self-compassion? That's key. It's treating yourself with the same kindness and understanding that you would offer a friend going through the same thing. Imagine your friend came to you and said, "This happened to me." Would you tell them, "Well, you should have done this," or "You should have known better"? No.
Yeah.
No, you'd be supportive and compassionate. Right.
Right.
So do that for yourself.
Yeah, that's a really good point.
And then, after that, it's about rebuilding, rediscovering your passions.
Oh, the things that light you up. Yeah.
Exactly. The things that make you, strengthening your support network.
Yeah, people.
Yeah, your people, your tribe, the ones who lift you up. And gradually, you rebuild your self-esteem. It's a journey of rediscovering your own inherent worth.
I love that.
And it takes time.
It does.
Yeah.
But it is possible.
It is.
Well, this has been, I feel like, incredibly insightful. We've talked about those red flags, how to spot them. We've talked about the power of setting boundaries. And, really, the healing is a journey, but
It's a journey worth taking.
it's a journey worth taking. And it is possible. You're not alone. You deserve healthy, respectful relationships. Full stop.
Yeah, absolutely. And you know what I think is really empowering is that all this knowledge,
Yeah.
it's not just for romantic relationships.
Right.
We can apply this to all areas of our lives,
For all our relationships.
to our family, to our friends, to work. Just imagine, what if we started setting healthy boundaries with everyone?
Yeah, that's a really, really good point.
It's about creating a life where you feel respected, valued, and safe in all your interactions.
Yeah, it's really making me think. Well, on that note, I think we're going to wrap it up here. Thank you so much for listening, everybody, and
Keep those boundaries strong.
keep those boundaries strong. We'll see you next time.
See ya.